Hi friends, thanks for joining us today. Standing here again at the Circle of the Church year, and we are now in the 4th week in Lent. In the beginning, the baby was born. God chose Mary to be the mother of God. Listen carefully to the words. God chose Mary to be the mother of God, and the Word was born a wordless child. When the baby looked up into the face of the mother Mary, he could already see the cross. And when he looked up into the face of the father Joseph, the cross was there too. The mother Mary and the father Joseph held the baby close. They kept him safe and warm and gave him everything that he needed. And the baby grew. The baby grew and became a boy. When he was about 12 years old, he went with the mother Mary and the father Joseph and many other people from the village of Nazareth to the great city of Jerusalem to keep one of the high holy days. When the celebration was over, the people of Nazareth started on the road back toward home. Suddenly, they discovered that Jesus was not there. Mary and Joseph thought that he was playing with the other children of the village as they walked. They hurried back to Jerusalem to find him. They looked in the dark and narrow streets. They looked in the marketplace where they had bought their food. They looked in the place where they had spent the night. They looked everywhere for 3 days and 3 nights. Finally, they found him. He was in the temple talking with the temple priests. When he talked, they listened because he knew so much. When they talked, he listened because he wanted to know more. The boy grew and became a man. When Jesus was about 30 years old, he went to the river Jordan, where his cousin John was baptizing people. Do you see John here? You can just see the back of his head. He was a wild man. Jesus waded out in the waters of the river Jordan until he was face to face with John. And he said, "Baptize me." For John, it was like he was seeing Jesus for the very first time. And he said, "How can I baptize you? You are the Messiah, the chosen one. It is you who must baptize me." Jesus said, "It is written that you will come before me and prepare the way. Baptize me." Jesus went down into the darkness and the chaos of the water, and John lifted him back up into the light. When he did, there were people there who said that they saw a dove come down from heaven and come close to him. There were also people there who said they heard a voice that said, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." Jesus went across the river Jordan to the desert to learn more about who he was and what his work would be. Jesus went across the River Jordan to learn more about his work and who he was. He stayed there for 40 days and 40 nights. There was little to eat and little to drink. One day, he heard a voice, and the voice said, "If you are really the Son of God, why don't you take these stones, turn them into bread, and have something to eat?" Jesus said, "No. To be a real human being, you must have more than just bread." Then it was as if Jesus was taken up to the high part of the temple in Jerusalem. The voice came back and it said, "If you're really the Son of God, why don't you jump down and see if God will send the angels to catch you before you hit the stones below?" Jesus said, "No, we must not test God." Finally, a voice came back again for the third time, and it said, "I will make you king of all these kingdoms if you will follow me." And Jesus said, "No, I am to be a king, but not that kind of king." And then the voice went away. Jesus went back across the River Jordan, and he knew now what his work was. When Jesus came back across the River Jordan, he knew now who he was and what his work would be. His work was to come close to people, especially to people who no one wanted to come close to. He has come close to this blind man. He is so close that he is touching his eyes. When Jesus came close to people, they could see things that they could not see before. They could do things that he could not do before. They became well. Jesus also told parables. Then Jesus knew that he had to become a parable. So he turned toward Jerusalem for the very last time. Jesus turned toward Jerusalem for the very last time. It was the time of the Passover, so there were many people in the city from different lands. They all thought that he was coming to become a king, but they weren't paying attention. He didn't come in on a great white horse. He was riding a donkey, and it wasn't even his. He had to borrow it. Still, when Sunday came, the people waved palm branches, which were a sign of kings. On Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, Jesus went to the temple to teach. At night, he went back to the Mount of Olives with the 12. The people watched him and they whispered that the Mount of Olives was the place where angels would come down from heaven and drive away the Roman soldiers. The temple guard said, "On Thursday, we will take Jesus." But when Thursday came, they could not find him. He went through the dark streets and climbed upstairs into an upper room. And there with the 12, he shared his Last Supper. When they had all eaten until they were full, Jesus took bread and he gave thanks, and he broke it. And he said, "Whenever you take bread like this and you break it, I will be with you." And then Jesus took a cup of wine, and he gave thanks for it. And he said, "Whenever you come together and you share a cup of wine like this, I will be with you." What did it mean? Jesus was always saying things like this. They did not forget, and later they would understand. Suddenly, Judas, one of the 12, got up and left the room. The rest stayed, and they sang a hymn together. And then they went to the Garden of Gethsemane, which was on the Mount of Olives. Jesus wanted to pray. When he was finished praying, he joined the 12. Judas came out of the shadows and gave Jesus a kiss on the cheek. This was a sign to the temple guards to take him away. The temple guards came out of the shadows and grabbed him and took him into the night. The 12 also disappeared into the night. Now I wonder where you see yourself in this story. I wonder which part of the story is especially for you. I wonder if maybe there's anything in this room that reminds you of parts of this story. Thanks for joining us, friends. Have a great week.